Tom Murphy now joins us, Whole Hog Sports, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Tom, I know that Sam Pittman did not have his usual Sam Pittman Live last night or his Monday press conference, but we did get a chance to hear from him at the SEC teleconference earlier this week. He updated not just on Taylon Green, but a couple other guys as well, including Patrick Kudus and also, I almost said Braylon Russell, Jalen Braxton. How do you think the health status of this team is heading into next week's matchup against LSU?
Morning, guys. I'll talk to that, but man, y'all lit a fuse on me with the diamond lanes. I've seen many single drivers in diamond lanes, and mostly guys, mostly young guys, mostly in the Dallas area. I've seen the diamond lane backed up just like every other lane many times in Texas and in Atlanta and stuff. But if there was a magic lane that we could put in, it would be Little Rock to Memphis.
Oh,
really?
Here.
Yeah, really more like Hazen to Memphis, because I don't know. There's hardly a time I drive that where there's not tractor trailers blocking all the lanes or a wreck or a fire or something going on there. It's crazy.
Yeah, what would you pay? It would be worth $50 to just be able to get in that lane and cruise from Little Rock, from I-30, where I-30 comes in, all the way to the bridge. Just let me cruise.
It would be so sweet to do that one time. And I've intentionally driven down to the West Helena before and crossed over there just to get away from all that.
And considering, Tom, you're always carpooling with Bob and Wally most of the time, so you get to take advantage of that supposed carpool that they could put in there.
Yeah, it would be beautiful. But no, so in one point for the Razorback injury update, the tight end room should be a lot better. Hasz his back. We'll have 2 full weeks to heal up, and Ty Washington, whatever he's got going on, would be better. And you think Paschke would be back if he can clear all the concussion protocols. So tight end room should be better. DB should be better, because I happened to bump into Jalen Braxton they were walking up Razorback Road to the game the other day, and I'm like, hey, you getting better? He's like, yeah, LSU game. So he should be back. And then, whatever Miguel Mitchell's got going on, maybe he could be back, and then Hudson Clark would be better. So all those positions should be better off. But with Taylon, a bone bruise, that's part of what's happening with Braxton. So we're not sure. Sam hopes that he can be back for LSU, and you'd hate to go into a second consecutive home game against LSU with a backup quarterback when they're right there. The last 4 games in this series have been decided by 3 points, and you want to be at full health for that one.
I wonder, with it being such a close game, special teams is going to impact. Devin Bale's been fantastic for this team this season, but Coach Pittman also kind of touched on his kickers a little bit, and Kyle Ramsey and Matthew Shipley. Kyle hurt his groin in the last game. What do you do if you're Sam Pittman with a week and a half to prepare, getting Kyle back to health and kind of knowing he's been inconsistent this year?
Well, it sounds like he's going to be out for a while based on Sam Pittman from yesterday. So Matthew Shipley, who we thought, after spring, he didn't have a good spring game, but we thought he'd be the kicker, and then they brought Ramsey in, and Ramsey had an 0 for 4 day during a scrimmage, and we thought, well, that's the crowning blow. It's going to be Shipley, but then it wasn't. So there was a lot going on that we didn't see that led Ramsey to winning the job. And now after the 44-yard miss on which he hurt his groin again, it looks like they could be riding Shipley the rest of the way. And, honestly, you could say kicking played a major role in not winning the Oklahoma State game, and so you hope it doesn't come into play anymore. But with all these supposed, tight games, swing games they have left, kicking could come into play here.
Tom, how much confidence do you think was gained out of the performance against Tennessee by the offensive line, and can that carry forward? What are you expecting in the last half of the year from the offensive line after the way they played against Tennessee?
Yeah, I think a ton of confidence in that when they had to have it. It wasn't looking good with Singleton for the drive that was inside the 10. There was a couple of weird snaps and a bobble and all that. Mm-hmm. And then the next 2 Singleton drives, they just didn't get very far. They really had guys coming at him. But for them to have blown holes for Braylon Russell and Singleton on that last drive, a huge momentum builder for them. And they protected well for Taylor Green all of the game, really. And so that, as Sam Pittman described it, best pass protection game they played all year, should help them. And just knowing that you can quell a great offense like Tennessee had, and then move the ball against a great defense, are both sides of the ball, big lift-ups for the Razorbacks. And I'll tell you, I don't know if you guys have talked about this much this week, but Josh Heupel said that they basically let them score. And you saw one DB, had a shot at Singleton. I would not have let Arkansas score in that situation with a backup kicker in. If that DB hits Singleton just right, the ball could be dislodged. I mean, there's a lot of things. Now, granted, with a minute 20 left or whatever, if Singleton slides down or you tackle him, a lot can happen. And Arkansas is certainly going to run the clock down and try to, kick a field goal at a minimum with just a little bit of time left. But it makes Tennessee run. Heupel did not want to have to use all his timeouts, and so I get where he was coming from, but I would not have let Arkansas score.
Yeah, Ty and I were having a spirited conversation on the golf course about that. To me, that was the only way Tennessee could win. I mean, you got to assume Arkansas is going to leave with enough points to take the lead, so the only path you have to victory is to get the ball back by letting them score. It was, a minute 53, I think, when Arkansas finally scored after the 2-minute timeout. To me, that was the only strategy, and it nearly worked. I mean, they threatened the red zone, and obviously Nico was pushed out of bounds with no time on the clock, and that ended the ball game. But I thought that was the only strategy that could lead them to victory.
Well, here's where I'll disagree with you. If that DB smacked Singleton on the last play, he could dislodge the ball. Yeah. I mean, you could muff a snap. They'd already had a couple of muff snaps. And then a field goal is not guaranteed. If you're Arkansas, they wanted to score a touchdown big time, but Singleton sliding down, and this is not going to be something that occurs to him, but sliding down on the 2-yard line or the 1-yard line on that play with a minute 17 left, I think might have been the play. But anyway, what's past is past. But if you're an Arkansas fan, you're like, thank you for letting us score, but there's a lot of things that could have happened if Tennessee had tried to tackle him.
Yeah, I mean, I even thought throughout the game, we were debating this just in our row, watching the game there, is when it was, 14-9, should you have went for 2 when you got that first touchdown? Should you have went for 2 to make it 14-11 rather than kick? And I know that was in the third quarter, and you don't always chase points that early, but you just think about the possibilities. Going for 2 there wouldn't have really set you back if you didn't make it, and it would have put you within a field goal to tie if you'd have been successful. So, I mean, I'm glad it all worked out. Arkansas won, and we're kind of picking at threads, but that was another thing that strategically I think could be discussed.
Yeah, well, that's next level thinking right there, Tommy. You were like
I'm known for it,
chess right there.
Tom Murphy with us here on our hotline, Whole Hog Sports, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Tom, the other news this week outside of Arkansas's preparation and just getting ready for the Tigers, Slobber Hog going back on the court. Any thoughts to Hunter Yurchek's and the athletics department decision to put Slobber Hog back there?
Well, good on them for playing it up and getting some, hype going about it. People love the Slobbering Hog, and it makes you different. I mean, the regular Razorback is a cool, really cool logo, and it looks great out there. But the Slobbering Hog, man, it's going to be talked about on all the TV broadcasts, and it fires some folks up. So nothing wrong with that, and they raise NIL in the process, NIL money, just like they'll do with the goalposts, like Vanderbilt's doing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was the next thing I was talking about, or I was going to ask you about. Vanderbilt doing that same thing after their historic win against Alabama. For those that don't know, Arkansas is doing something similar. They announced that yesterday. You can own a rare piece of 6-inch section of the goalpost. Some are signed by Coach Pittman, Petrino, and Williams. Seems to be a couple different creative ways the last couple days, Tom, that would actually get people to contribute towards NIL.
These universities are going to have to come up with some real outside-the-box thinking, because basically this is how you're building your roster in football. And, honestly, I think when NIL came in, I think University of Arkansas officials kind of felt like it would come in the way it was supposed to, but it quickly evolved into these collectives. And a lot of teams in the SEC were on the leading edge of that. And Arkansas has been having to play catch-up. And so things like this are paramount for you to build some revenues that can go toward paying for your roster, man. I mean, it is such a new age to have thought that this could be reality. 10 years ago, it would have been folly. But here we are, and you got to play the game the way it's set up.
I'll be interested to see that when the next fiscal year rolls around, beginning next summer, and the $21 million that the court is either close to approving in the settlement or however that's going to shake out in weeks to come, how does that change the way the athletic department operates? Because I'm not of the belief that in most schools we'll just go raise another $20 or $21 million to cover this new revenue sharing. Business as usual has to change.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, that means if people leave the university athletic department, do you replace them or do you combine different people's roles? I mean, the cost-cutting measures will have to be in place. And Hunter Yurachek talked to the Hogs Illustrated Sports Club a couple of weeks ago, and I attended that. And he was saying that the real price is going to wind up being close to $23 million if it goes through as expected. So that's a lot of money. And for an athletic department with $174 million in expenses, I mean, you add it up, that's like, what, 1/7 of your budget that's going to go to the deal. So, yeah, they're going to have to be very, very creative for sure.
Be like the Cleveland Indians out there. They have the duct tape going around the propeller to get. We'll be using that plane now in moving forward.
Tom, we'll leave it there, man. By the way, apparently on I-40 in Little Rock, there is an HOV lane that we were unaware of.
On I-40?
I-4, did it say I-430? It was I-40.
430.
430, excuse me. I-430 in Little Rock. Caleb in Batesville text that in. So might have to find it now because I didn't know that there was.
Drive down there and you can tell us about it.
Okay.
Tom, we're always looking for a good diamond lane, aren't we?
They got to have a diamond lane, but, obey the rules. Don't go out there as a solo driver.
All right, Tom. Thanks, buddy.
You guys, have a good weekend.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.